Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star, Mopars.com. It is Saturday, December 30th, 2023. Closing in on the end of the year, the start of a new year. And don't know if you can tell, but we've made some upgrades here. What are they? Very minor. I finally shot back the mat and then I re-centered everything. A couple of weekends ago, I was out here, I had to move a couple of crankshafts underneath this workbench. If you ever wondered what we're filming on top of, it's engine parts. And we were sort of off center and I just didn't have time to adjust. Took the few minutes I needed to kind of get that reset, and we're going to go to town here. I've got a giant backlog of stuff, Black Friday sales, all sorts of things. But this is something that I picked up yesterday and we're going to showcase it for reasons you will soon understand. My apologies on it. Don't think it's going to fit very well in the frame here. But what we did yesterday, made a trip to Harbor Freight. Us plebeian, non-inside track club members, which I am, had access to the 25% off anything. Of course, as long as it's not a welder, storage cabinet, machinery, anything expensive basically. But one of the expensive items that they didn't exempt me from is right here. This is probably your best angle for it, but this is Icon's part number DATW12-250. It's probably digital angle torque wrench, 1/2 inch, and 250 is probably the length there. We'll figure it out. But this is something that I'd already bought, and this doesn't have a happy story, and it's important. It's not just all sunshine and roses, regardless of where you're shopping. Some places have better customer service or care than others. A lot of places, you might have a relatively clean store that's kind of stocked good, and the employees just suck. Sometimes it's the opposite. The employees are great, they take care of you at the register, are somewhat knowledgeable, but this place is like a pigsty. This goes on two fronts. When I purchased this, there was I want to say 20% off sale. It could have been more, but it was like a big deal, and this was never in stock locally, and it was in stock online, and so I bought it, and my stuff shipped. And I got, because anytime I buy from Harbor Freight online, which I hate doing, it's a situation where I try to throw on a couple of things to negate the $6.99 shipping that they charge. And that's what I did there. I think I got a couple of work lights or something, some other things that had lower price or a coupon applicable that wouldn't, offset with this one type of a deal. And that stuff came to me, and this did not. And I was like, well, that's strange, I wonder why. It was in stock. So I go in that shipment, and it's arrived. Clearly it doesn't have a giant torque wrench with it. And I go on the website and it's in stock, and I'm like, well, that's weird, it should have shipped to me. And then I think the next day at work, when I finally got to eat lunch, I went on and it was not in stock anymore, and it was scheduled to be back online in August or something, because this goes way back. All right. And so all this time, I had bought this 20% off. This is a situation, I have this happen with Mac quite often. I would never cancel that order. Okay, short of something along these lines coming from another brand for less money or a better deal, I will not cancel this order. You could tell me, well, sir, we're not going to have that until 2024. I'm not going to cancel it. We're just going to hold out. And long story short, they canceled it for me without consulting me, and that really pisses me off. Zorro has done things like that. Zorro will usually contact me, and I tell him, yeah, I want to wait. I'm fine waiting. Just keep it coming. I'm never gonna cancel this. Keep waiting. And then they'll cancel it, and that's what Harbor Freight did. But I had no conversations. There was never an email hey, we apologize, sir. You ordered this torque wrench, in March, and we still don't have it, and that makes us look really, really bad. Here are your options. We can cancel your order and, refund the money. We can, we've located one at X store near your zip code. We can set it aside and have a manager, have it there for you. Hey, we've got one. It's one of our pick and pull stores, and we'll direct ship from there. Again, we apologize for the inconvenience. I never got any options. It was just canceled, and I had no idea it was canceled because I didn't even get an email that it was canceled. You got to realize, once this drags on into the 4th or 5th month, you're just well, one of these days this thing's going to show up. And what I would do, I would go in, anytime I check like new products or something every other time, I'd go and I'd check this, and the date kept getting pushed farther and farther back. And then finally it quit being pushed farther back, and I'm like, okay, hey, you know, these must be actually on the ship, in transit, whatever. And I want to say it was like right before November, Thanksgiving-ish, you know, I should say. And I thought, man, this is it. You know, we're finally going to have that thing show up. Cool deal. And then sure enough, it was back in stock. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, like I didn't get notice they shipped mine. And I went and I logged in, and I could not find it. And I'm like, well, what's the deal? You know, like, did they ship it and like delete the order history or something? Nope, come to find out, it's just gone. They just canceled my order even though they'd come in stock. I had no advance notice. I could have bought this multiple times locally with the same 20% off. Icon 20% off coupons, pretty frequent. Give yourself like a month or so, you're probably going to see one. And there were times, I think this had a temporary lower price even, and we could have stacked it. And they're not going to save a ton more, but it's a little bit, and that matters to me. But bottom line, I kind of felt like I got shafted on that one. And kicking the pants though, here at the end of the year they did 25% off, like I said, and I'm pretty confident I only used 20% here, so that results in a better deal for me, which I felt like I deserved after getting, you know, shafted on that one. And good lord, the store closest to me, there's times I go in there, and yeah, I think it's entirely dependent upon the crew. And this crew sucked. I mean, it was abysmally bad. I'm talking, it's the longest line in Harbor Freight I have ever seen. And you have two employees at the front of the store talking to each other, and then you have the manager talking to another employee back by his little cubicle, and it's like, open another register, Sherlock. I mean, this is, people literally just dropped their stuff and left. They were buying end cap, they just put it down and walked out. I'm sitting there, and I know that there's supposed to be in stock at the store. They're not out. There's no notice that they're anywhere locked up in the back because of theft or anything, which I believe is what happened. And I'm a pretty patient guy, and I was like, this is ridiculous. As I watched the manager continue to have an eyeball on the situation and fail to take any action. Instead of causing a scene, which is what I would have liked to have done, like, hey, quit yakking, get your butt over here and check someone out. You got 2 more registers, getting people at them, and then have somebody on the floor to answer questions, bonehead. I just left. You know, it was close to the end of the year, it was right after Christmas. I just left. So, the thing is, the other Harbor Freight is a pretty good drive. And I thought, you know what, it's in there. You know, they probably got it in the back or something stupid, because this store, they never have new stuff out. They're never on top of anything. There's a couple of really nice cashiers, but everyone else there sucks. Big time. I'll tell him that to the face. I'll tell the manager that. In fact, if I see the idiot again, if he's still employed, I will let him know what I think about his managerial skills, which are abysmally bad. That's a terrible look. I'm talking, I don't mean 3 people were in front of me. I'm talking like I was number like 12 in line. Open another register, bonehead. It's not complicated, okay? So I go out and I get in the car and I've got the item number. I know how to do this crud. I could go in the back and I could pull it and I could check myself out and been in and out of there in record time. But alas, I have to depend on idiots that don't want to work. So I go in and I call the store, and the person that answers is the woman who's also the only person checking. That's right, it rang 3 or 4 times, and none of those conversations could end between the 2 employees, and so the one woman that was actually working when she's on the clock is also who answered the phone, okay? She answers the phone. To her credit, she's nice. I give her the item number. She says, I'll have to check. Puts me on hold for a really long time. They've got the cliche Super Bowl ad hold music, which is kind of humorous. But anyway, I assume there's somebody in the back. She says, yep, we've got 2 of them. And I said, great, I'm in your parking lot and I'll take one. I came inside. The line was even longer. And I'm sitting there like, you still haven't opened another register, idiot. So I start mad dogging the manager, you know, just uncomfortably staring at him, where it's one of those things, you can tell when someone's staring at you, and you're like, why is that man staring at me? And he won't stop staring at me. And finally it worked, the psychological aspects of, hey, you're the manager and you suck, you're not doing your job. It was a deal where the line is going like this up towards the cash register. I was about here, the manager's over here, so I was looking this way the entire time. And my subliminal tactics worked, and he finally opened up another register. And he broke up the conversation between the other two people, which they can do when he's not supervising. So we're back on track there. Patiently wait. I see more people leave in frustration because the other line that opened got somebody returning something, presumably from Christmas. But I get up there, and they direct me to the other deal. And I tell the guy, like, yeah, I called in a torque wrench. And he's like, okay, the torque wrenches are over there. And I'm like, no. Well, you don't have it out on the shelf. It's kept in the back. You have two of them. I told the lady I'd take one. He turns and looks at the poor woman still running the majority of the work through the cash register. And she says, yeah, I took that call. I haven't gotten to do anything. I've been checking people out the whole time. And again, to her credit, I respect it. Her story checks out. Totally good. No issues with her. That guy throws a fit, and he's like, well, they're back there. And I'm like, no, they're not. I said, I gave a rattle off part number, which is not the DATW. I use their item number. They will not find DATW. You have to give them their little 5-digit code. And so I rattled that off to him, and the manager's there, and he kind of looks at the guy like, well, go get it. You know, this guy knows what he's talking about. So he goes back there. I could tell he didn't want to go. He came back, and he says, we don't have any. I'm like, I just stared at him. I was like... And you got to realize, I'm usually super nice. The employees, they all know me. At least other shifts do. I don't know if this was seasonal help or people quit or they were college kids that left. I don't really know. But I just stared at the guy and I was like, really? I was like, I called it in because no one would speak to me the first time because they were busy having conversations off to the side while the place is mismanaged. And I said... there's two in the back. They had somebody check. I don't think you know where they are. And he goes, well, we don't have them. And so I said, that's cool. Thanks for wasting my time. And that's really pretty mean by me. I will admit, I usually don't do that. But in this situation, I could go back there. I guarantee you they had two of these in stock. I guarantee you I would have found them. And I guarantee you I could have checked myself out. And that just really... pisses me off, especially when this is something that was canceled from me. So what did I do? I called the other one, just like I've had to do in the past with this local store that's kind of lackluster. And even though it's way out of my way, I went over there, super nice old lady, and she gives me the stories like, well, let me check. You know, it says we have two, but I like to make sure. And I'm like, yeah, that's what the other store said. And sure enough, she goes, and it's some little chick in the back. And she knew right where they were, and she pulled them up. She told me to go meet her, and I did, so she wouldn't have to lug it up to the front. But then she had to carry it because apparently they keep them in the back because people steal them. And there's your answer right there. So I get rung out there. I get my 25% off. I save money. This should be $350-ish. It's like $349.99. 25% off is like $87, believe it or not. Takes it down to $262, and that's why I have this. I'm a man of reason and principle, and at that point in time, what the first store pulled after having my order canceled online, I would be done with this. This is when I will go and I will pay, for roughly the same item from a tool truck. I'll pay $500. Like, I know, $260, $350, you're spending an extra $200, $150 there, I will gladly do that for better service because that is just unacceptable on multiple levels. And the reason I didn't is because, again, that other store, out of the way, for whatever reason, even though it's like older women and younger women, they get stuff done. They actually seem to care that they're on the clock and working. And I respect that. Stupid good deal. There's nothing that I can get that offers these features for around this ballpark. Mac has a new flyer, Q1, 2024 or whatever. Sales flyer one because it's technically started at Christmas, and you think, oh yeah, they've got one of these in orange and green. You should have bought the orange one, man. Well, here's the deal: they're like $500. They're not on sale. Companies do this all the time. They advertise something and they put a price up, and you're just like, oh, it's in the flyer. It's a good deal. No, it's like that's MSRP, you idiot. And the other thing, like the big selling point to me, aside from not having anything digital, is that this does torque angle. So that's basically the reason this is here is it has the angle function. and that is something that I need from time to time. So this is quite long, and it's going to be an impediment a lot of the time. However, if you think of like out of body experiences, in this case an engine or a transmission or a rear end, particularly that type of stuff, maybe suspension stuff, I'm kind of old school poor and don't have a lift, so this becomes a problem. I probably can't swing it without hitting and bottoming out the ground or driving the elbow into concrete type of a thing. But if I had a lift, it would be great for suspension stuff. Main thing I'm thinking is, of course, engine assembly. That's when you often have, you know, the angles that you have to factor in. This has me covered, never had anything prior to that, and it was a fantastic buy. These have been tested relentlessly by people. I want to say Tools Tested, which his channel kind of blew up. But he went out, he bought all the fancy testing equipment, and these test beautifully. You can go watch his video if you want to see it compared to things. Man, that video might be 2 years old even, but these did very, very well in head-to-head. They maintained accuracy. They beat out a lot more expensive options. But for $262, for having a digital torque wrench with a ton of features, and then the ability to do angle, it's hard to go wrong there, especially when you know other people have kind of guinea-pigged it, checked it out, verified it. So this was a win on that front. I tell you the stories, the negative stuff, because you need to know those things from time to time, right? Like buying online is a total crapshoot. And what I've noticed with Harbor Freight is just like with Mac. If they put a really good deal out there, they're less and less and less likely to have what you want in stock or make up stories or do whatever they can to not sell you that product at a discount. That's the advantage of going in person. Some of you, despite their increasing presence of brick and mortar stores, are still hours away from the nearest Harbor Freight. Some of you on the East Coast, West Coast, megalopolis areas, you can't fathom this. You've got like 5 of them within 20 minutes, right? And you say, oh, I don't want to go to that one. It's 20 minutes away. If you're in rural America or a flyover state or anywhere far from the ocean, you're going to have a drive associated with this stuff. That's where the $6.99 shipping is irrelevant. There's no way you can load up your 3/4 ton Cummins, head into town, and come back and have only spent $6.99 in diesel. Okay, it's advantageous to you to have things shipped, and that is why, even though you might not process it because you've got 8 stores, you know, within 20 minutes of you, there are people like me, or people that have it even worse than this, where you're out in the sticks, God's country, if you will, and you don't have this crud. Multiple options, let alone, you know, you might be an hour and a half from one store, and then if you want to go to another one, it's a, you know, 3-4 hour trek, right? And then what if you get there, you check online, you call, and they say they've got 2, and you show up, and you get some jerk employee, and it's like, no, I don't know where that is. You leave. I don't want to work. It's stupid. And like I said, if this was a deal where if Snap-on would have been anywhere semblance close to this, if the Mac did all the things I wanted it to do, I don't mind spending the extra money in that case. I know I'm kind of hurting myself there, but it proves the point. And honestly, they didn't deserve this sale, in my opinion. And if I wasn't getting it for 25% off, it would not be here right now. So that aside, let's get to the good stuff here. This is, again, the Icon Professional Flex Head Digital Angle Torque Wrench, which, again, that part number I gave you, DATW 12-250, does nothing for you because they're going to use like a 51686 or something. But it is 33% more accurate. Again, that seems laughable, but if you look at the testing, people have actually verified these are pretty legit. Don't remember who the OEM likely is, but they, like I said, there's videos out there. You can educate yourself. Something cool about this one, trying to get happy here. 4 alert modes. There's audible. This is a big deal if you can hear. A lot of you think, well, why couldn't you hear? And the thing's going to be buzzing off in your ear. Depending on where you work, you may not hear. Maybe the compressor comes on. Maybe, you know, the bay next to you, you know, there's a diesel running and it's going through some test cycles. Where I work, you know, maybe there's grinding, which is deafening. And, you know, there's just the hum of electric motors running, and then you've got, you know, an overhead hoist going around the shop or something. Vibratory, that's a big deal. Audible and vibratory. There's tons of times I walk around with my phone in my back pocket at work. I don't hear that thing. The way I know that I've got a call coming in is my watch vibrates. Phone can be cranked up. If it's loud in the shop, I don't have a clue your call's coming in. supervisor, boss, customer, you know, important call, whatever. I don't know, but that vibration on my watch tells me like, oh, hey, what's this about? And then it's like, oh, geez, there's a call. Pull my phone out, answer it. So it seems laughable, but you've got to think, you know, not everyone's in like us. Here at the house, I will hear it. You know, I will feel it vibrate. I can probably see the LCD screen in some cases, and I can hopefully see the LEDs in others. But your third thing is the LCD. That's probably the least practical in terms of like tracking where you are in the progress there. And then the LED, that's going to be a big deal. I've never had anything digital like that. We're essentially going to have like green, orange, or amber, and red type of a deal. And that should also be very handy. Again, all this means more to you if you're using this in an environment that's loud or limited visibility type of stuff. Again, coming from the old school where I just have like click style torque wrenches and stuff, I'm used to just, you know, the handle slips, right? So this has that. It has the lights, it has the display, which is going to take some getting used to. And then, like I said, it will audibly make a beep. So pretty cool. I think it gets progressively louder, if I'm thinking correctly. I guess you could do that multiple ways. But the other big thing here, it's always a pain in the butt. There's a lot of fantastic torque wrench deals I've looked at. This past week, I think KC Tools had 2 really nice torque wrenches. There was a Hazette I was particularly interested in. This side right here, when you adjust, it's in Newton meters, I think. The flip side, did it have foot-pounds or pound-feet or inch-pound? No, it had nothing. And so that's kind of a buzzkill to me, living over here. That's why a lot of times you think, man, these torque wrenches are super busy. Depending on what you're working on, the manufacturer specs will call for different things. You might do the conversions yourself. You can certainly do that, but I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm going to pay that kind of money for a Hazette torque wrench, even on Tool of the Day, I'm fine with it having Newton meters on the upright side where it sits and stores and displays, but that flip side, I really want to see my foot-pounds, right? I want to see the American equivalent that I'm going to use more without having to do conversion math. So this being digital, it's going to let you just adjust on the fly. Super cool deal. Foot-pounds, inch-pounds, that's also a big deal. Sometimes people have trouble with 12s. Divide by 12, multiply by 12. This, again, computerized does it for you. Still good to verify, but if you have trouble, you know, this kind of should set you in the ballpark. Newton meters, KGN, whatever that is, I don't know. You know, keep me in the 60s and 70s, please. And angle, which again has become more and more of a big deal. The side over here that you haven't seen much of, half-inch drive, again, 12.5 to 250 foot-pounds is the range. That's a big deal because oftentimes when something goes up that high in the torque scale, it doesn't handle something that small in the torque scale. Like you might have, particularly like really good precision torque wrenches. If you're going to 250, you might start at 150, 125, maybe 100 even. So as you drop down to like something that's 50, you're like, oh, that's got a good range. Well, this one has a killer range to its credit. So I'm excited about that. If we come over here, there's that DATW I've rattled off. It includes factory issued certificate of calibration. Again, a nice nod if you had to set yourself up at work and they demanded to see something. Past that, you know, it's just going to be whoever y'all use to, you know, to dial in your equipment periodically. Complies with standards ASME, blah, 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 who really cares? 72 tooth, again, some of you may. There's a free frame for you. 72 tooth, which is kind of high for a torque wrench, and does have the lifetime guarantee, which is actually a big deal and a big selling point. Sometimes those expensive tool truck ones don't offer that on something like this. So right here we've kind of covered everything there. Heavy duty low profile teardrop head for easy access. Again, that's great, but the length of this driver might be an impediment, so you'll want to keep that in mind. You got a flex head that allows 15 degrees of rotation for knuckle and obstruction clearance. 72 tooth ratcheting mechanism produces a tight 5-degree arc swing for easy work in small places. Durable hardened steel construction delivers a torque range of 12.5 to 250 foot-pounds. Right here we've got bilingual L's, good lord. English and Spanish, okay. Program and store up to 9 preset torque settings. I guess if you want to screw around with your buddy, you can come change this to Espanol. have it screaming at him sometime. So 9 preset torque settings, that's a big deal. Let's say that you are, just for lack of better terms, at a dealership, and you typically do 3/4 ton trucks, and every once in a while they move you over and you mess around with Hellcats, right? So you're going to have different torque specs, you know. So if you're doing something all the time, like lug nuts, boom, preset store. You don't have to manually adjust it. Go to town that way. Right there, you've got your 4 alert modes. Again, just to recap them: audible, vibratory, LCD, and LED. I'm most excited about the vibration and the LED. I think that's going to be the most useful. Audible, again, I'll probably be able to hear that in here most of the time. Unless, of course, the compressor fires. LCD screen, optimal visibility. We'll check that out here in a second. This actually, you would think this would have like the plastic end cap or overmold type of thing. They elected to keep it bare metal, so this has a knurled handle. I'm kind of excited to see how they went with the knurling. Again, you've got foot pounds, inch pounds, newton meters, kilogram meters maybe, I don't know what that is, and angle. And right here you've got a sleep feature to conserve battery life. That's usually the big problem with something like this. Anything digital screen, particularly, you know, like calipers, they eat batteries. In this case, 3 AA. Does include them, which is a nice deal. It gets you up and running. It does have the protective case. I think it has a clear lid, which is kind of cool, kind of not cool. I feel like that might let dust ingress better. At the same time, this should be a decent looking piece of equipment, so it's sort of cool to like open your drawer and be like, oh yeah, there's the digital one. So right here we've got the rest of the stuff. 12.5 accuracy, plus minus 2% clockwise, plus minus 3% counterclockwise. So what I will do is spare you the trouble. I'll open this thing up by hand, and we'll take a look at it that way together. Probably fire it up, look at some things, and call it good. Again, I hate griping, I really do. It's a buzzkill. It makes me relive bad experiences, but it's important to convey them. All right, happy tracks activated indeed, because this does look phenomenal. Again, I don't enjoy having to complain. Fun every once in a while. Not necessarily grueling through all the details, but this almost makes up for the ineptitude online and in my local store. Almost. So I am happy. 25% is about as good as you're going to do on something like this, so that's a win. I'll slap them with the other 5% and kind of take solstice in that, I suppose. So this is the clear view, which is, again, yeah. If you work in a body shop, if you work somewhere dusty, you know, maybe you're like a grain elevator or something, you're still going to want this in a drawer. Okay, do everything you can to protect Precision Instruments. This looks really cool, I will give them that. It's a good clear view plastic, but when I hit that, it's flimsy, kind of like a Icon socket case. And I don't mean the lid, that's solid. I'm talking like the plastic inset. So it looks really cool, it's going to be neat, but I think it will allow an ingress of dirt, so, or debris, you know, again. So if you're sitting there and you're, I don't know, you're doing 2 things at once, right? You know, you got like customer car B that, you know, you're putting everything in, final assembly, it's about to be road tested by the boss or something, and then you're also turning around and doing body work on a 71 Charger. Put this away. Like, you know, if you go in and you tighten up the front accessories, put it away. Protect your investment, right? So right there, again, you get a great view of everything you've got, which is super cool. There wouldn't be the glare. I do like this. If you had to store this weirdly or something, it's got the 1/2-inch drive, and it gives you the... Huh. That's not cool. It says 50 to 250. The box says 12.5. The ends, which you can't see very well, if you can imagine those blank boxes having text, they say Icon up top and then 50 to 250 foot-pounds. Which is it? Which is it? And I'll also tell you right now, I don't know if this came that way or it was me, but this is down. Like, this is out of the casing, so it's already a problem. It does have metal clasps with what appears to be a metal through pin, which is good, because otherwise these would break. I think this might be the first torque wrench I own that has metal clasps. All right, yes, if you see this bouncing around, okay, I think I was sort of able to reseat that, so that's good. I would almost just prefer a solid plastic case there. The hinge on that one, and I just popped it loose again, it does actually have a metal hinge pin. At least I think I was looking at a piece of metal. It was shiny and silver. So that's cool, that'll help it out, but this is going to be a problem. That's not executed very well in my opinion, but again, it looks cool. Would I prefer execution or cool aesthetics in this case? Execution. Protect this thing at all costs. So, I think I might see Duracells down there. Right in this area, I see something that looks like the copper top. Let's pop this guy out. I'll be danged, wow. So that makes you think this is for sure done elsewhere, because Harbor Freight, anytime I've gotten batteries, which to their credit they're good about, what do I get? I get their Thunderbolt line or something super cheap or foreign. These actually have Duracells. There's actually, it looks like recesses to keep the batteries. And if I take a look at this, let's see, we got 01 2023 and 01 2030. Not sure. I guess they've got like a 7-year cycle on them. But yeah, if you want to pull these every time, if you're not going to use this often, I would actually recommend that. But if you're going to use it, I don't know, multiple times a week, this would become a problem. You might just plug in extra batteries here so you have them when these inevitably don't light up when you want them to. So coming in here, looking at the head, you got off and on. I feel like we could break that switch. I'm not super confident with that. I'm not talking about the selection side, which is a little sticky. I just don't really like the feel of that. That said, you know, we're typically just going to have this in one position and never move it, so it's got that going for it. The head is not near as slim as you would think it might be, but again, this is half-inch drive, capable of doing 250 foot-pounds. Might be the smoothest icon, at least the most consistent as well, that I have used. Our flex head here, you're not gonna get much again. I'm fine with that. Why? You got this head out here like a 30-45 degree angle and you're putting 250 foot-pounds on it. You're gonna shear that sucker and you're gonna have a bad day, and they probably won't have one in stock then. Or you'll go in after checking online and seeing that they show to have stock, calling ahead because you know you can't depend on their online stuff, having someone confirm they have 2 or 3 in the back, going there and then getting a lackluster employee that tells you they don't have one. Sorry, you'll have to come back another time. So that is the downside here. If this does ever fail, you get the lifetime warranty. You would get it replaced presumably, but you've got that to contend with. So yeah, proceed with caution. Overall length here, this section, just bare metal shaft. Here you got very generously sized LCD display, I must say, giving them credit there. We've got the, I assume, right here and right there, you're going to have LEDs as well as the front side. That should be our power. I'm guessing that's unit of measurement. Plus and minus. P and M. Maybe preset number? I don't know. I'm just thinking off the cuff here. The instruction manual's still there. I do like this knurling. This is not quite as aggressive as you'll probably never hear me say like, oh, that's just as aggressive as I like. This is pretty legit knurling. I will give them that. So I don't think you're going to have any issues there. The other thing, yes, a green handle, an orange handle like Mac or Snap-on has, looks cool. If this was Icon's classic red, some of you might prefer that. You can get them dirty, and they're hard to clean, it wastes time. This is going to be my preferred method. Anytime I'm using something expensive or precision, wipe your hands off. Like, you don't have to get everything off of them. You don't have to go stop and wash them. That's good practice. But if you're slathered in anise here, right, or some like RTV gunk, don't come in and grab your knurled handle and impregnate that stuff on it. Take the 10 seconds to wipe your hand off. Just that simple first swoop of your rag. You're going to get a ton of stuff off of your hands that you're not going to get on your expensive torque wrench. So what I'm going to do is actually open up the batteries, crack this thing open, put them in there, and kind of see what we think. It looks like the cap is where it should twist, and just finally got that. So this is actually pretty good construction as well. I like seeing the brass in there. You got your springs. I'm assuming positive would go in first, trailing all the way down to negative. You've got a brass bushing right there. You can kind of see it, right? It's the thought that counts, I suppose. If I drop this down, we should, I haven't looked at the instructions, but we should drop positive, 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 have the negative out, make our contact, light this sucker up. But this is a nice little piece. Again, for our discounted price of $262, you can see that was laser etched right there, hopefully. It's got a nice mirror finish to it, but the lock and the unlock is what I was interested in showing you. For the money that we paid with 25% off, if this is as good as people's tests say, if it's not, shame on them. We'll call them out later. But I don't think they have anything to gain by doing that. I'm sure if this was terrible, their video would do great. It would have mass audience. If this is fantastic for a fraction of the price, the video does great. So just report it accurately, and I believe that's what they've done. It's not just tools tested. There's a couple other people that have actually kind of put this through the paces, and like I said, it's fared very well. So $262, this capability, these features, it's just a win across the board. I'd say the same thing if this was Capri, Tecton, if we got it off of a flyer on the Mack truck or the Snap-on guy, whatever, like something that's vetted and has this range, which I want to find out if this is 12.5 or 50. That's a huge buzzkill. If this is 50 to 250, 12.5 opens up the whole range of things we could do. Like, that's intake manifold bolts, right? And if it starts at 50, that's not in that territory at all. So 12.5 to 250 is what I thought I was getting. I'm wanting the batteries in there to verify that. That's the most important thing for me right now, in my opinion. So I'll crack this open, and we'll kind of take it from there. All right, so opening this thing up, dropping the batteries in, I gotta say, happy tracks we're even farther along on. This thing scared the snot out of me. It fired right up with the batteries in place. And I guess with that in mind, we will just jump right into the LCD screen. So top left, we've got the battery indicator. Hopefully you can kind of make that out. We've got, I guess, what would be preset 1. This is the date. Again, they're going to log, kind of, I guess, the intention there is to not aid you in your paperwork, but rather to be like, hey, you know, this thing hasn't been run, you know, calibrated in X amount of time. You need to do that. The 250, then you've got your peak torque there. So basically, to zoom back out and kill this thing, we're going to need to hold down 3 seconds. There we go. This is preset from the factory to time out, which in my opinion is a good thing, after 2 minutes of inactivity. So if you're not sitting over here mashing any buttons or anything, it will shut down after 2 minutes. You can adjust that to, I guess, a few seconds all the way up to 8 hours. Again, I guess that kind of depends, like if you've got somebody have to come by, check your work type of a thing. This was unit, that's increase and decrease. This was the menu button, should have thought of that, and then that is preset. So what I want to move to now before we jump back into the actual functions is this. This is a certificate of calibration. I'm showing you this, A, in case you have to present it for work, but also B, you can check this. If you own one of these, or if you think, hey, you know, that is a pretty good deal, I'm going to snag one at 20% off too. If this is just junk, pre-generated, they're not going to go to the extreme of, you know, like, oh, hey, you know, let's change the date and just print these things out. So you can kind of stop in here, but basically going clockwise, which we've got 50, 150, and 250. You've got your minimum of 49, max of 51, so +1, -1. Right here, 150, we're -3, +3. And then right here, again, kind of seeming like it's either auto-generated or just in the mechanism. 250, you're -5, +5, so +1, +3, +5 type of a setup there. Actual readings, you've got 150.08, 150.3, 251.1. So again, pretty impressive there. This one comes out to ±2 clockwise, ±3 counterclockwise. The thing that was reassuring to me is if you come down here to the bottom, you can see date of calibration 10/04/2023. That's a big deal because that would probably coincide with what I told you earlier in the video where I said, yeah, then they changed it and it stayed set towards late November. Was when this was going to, I think it was like November 26th or something, or December 2nd, and that might have been pushed back too. So that does actually kind of match up. The pipe wrench, which we did not long ago, this guy right here, I just assumed like, yep, you know, designed by Icon in the USA, manufactured in Taiwan. That was actually China. This is Taiwan, which is again reassuring, especially for something like a digital torque wrench. So again, here's this. If you want to compare, again, if everyone and their dog has one of these and it's the exact same readings, we could kind of raise some questions about the sincerity. If yours fluctuates, like maybe yours is 50-52 or 50-50, and then it kind of deviates the same, you should see patterns, you know, type of a thing. But there it is, just for your reference. The batteries went just like I said, so you'd want positive here, negative on the bottom, repeat all the way down, have your spring on the cap essentially touching negative. That's how I deduced that. I wanted to highlight from the instructions something here. So with the lighting, all right, we have a situation where it's going to start up and it's going to be red between 40 and 79.9. So if we're sitting here and we've got our lug nuts, you know, that we want to be torqued to 110 foot-pounds or something, once we hit 40% of that, red's going to come on. So that's your first indicator. As you progress, there's multiple lights. So basically 40 to 52 is one light in red. Two lights in red is triggered between 53 and 65, and then a third and final progress light in red, 66 to 79. But again, red between 40 and 80%, basically, just putting it in a nutshell. 80 to 95% is going to be yellow. It's also divided into 3 additional presets. So light 1, light 2, light 3 lets you know, like, hey, we're about to go green. There's actually a total of 5 progress lights, apparently, because in yellow, we've got, I'll just have to break them down for you, 80 to 84.9. And then 85 to 89.9, and then 5th is 90 to 95.9. So I'm guessing they kind of deviate between all 5, right? And I guess the front 2 are kind of isolated. Because you got progress lights will turn green when the actual value is above 96%. 3rd and 5th progress lights will turn off. 4th progress light will turn green when the value is between 96 and 99. 5th progress light will turn on when the value is 100 to 103.9. And then there's apparently a 6th progress light even. This is one of those things you probably don't care, but main thing I want to indicate, 40 to 80% red, 80 to 95%, we'll call it yellow, 96 to 100 plus green. Okay, that was the main thing. Also in this chart, even though the case said something different, this does say 12.5. Again, that's a big deal to me. It walks you through setting the date, walks you through all your adjustments. I guess the best thing to do now is turn this on. Again, to turn it off, we had to hold down 3 seconds. I think we just get to do a press. And there's that vibration that scared me the first time. So right here, if I'm at 250, can we go? Okay, so 13. So there's 12.5. Okay, so it does do 12.5. That was a very big deal. 12.5 to 50 is a whole usable range there that would have been axed off from this thing for me. So very happy about that. Preset 2, 250. Preset 3. So you can come in, we'll make sure there's really 9 of them. There are. So again, if you want to do, if you've got some intake manifold bolts that are 14.5 foot-pounds or something, set it there. Make it preset 1. If you're primarily going to use this on your cars and you've got the same presets on the lug nuts, make that 1. If your wife, you know, doesn't drive something quite like you do, make that preset too. If then you're coming in and you deal primarily in big block Mopars, you've got the same torque specs for what you're doing, maybe you're putting stealth heads on all the time, make that your preset 3. Then you don't have to sit here and peck around forever. You just press the P button. M button again is menu. Let's press that. You've got exit, mode, show memory, and clear memory. Okay, so whoa, LEDs. We'll come into mode, and you've got peak and track, which again, that's kind of cool. Again, basically the way this is going to work is you're tightening down. This display will naturally revert to what you're applying. So if I have this set to 60 foot-pounds and I start cranking and I'm at 20, this is going to show 20. You can also then, if we over torque this or we hit 63, it will do the same thing. So to get out of there, do we hit menu? Yes. So show memory, clear memory, backlight, off, auto on, always on. Okay. I guess we'll do auto on, right? I don't know if menu saves that or sets a set date and time. Let's play with this. So I told you it was 2023. So does menu gonna exit or save it? Okay, it does seem to save it. So this is 12, which is easy to do. And right here, this is legitimately the 30th. So boom. Time, good lord, why are you asking me something stupid like that? 6:22 p.m. Again, good practice. So we'll wonder what they're wanting. Not sure. Okay, that's hours, minutes. Like, good lord, you piece. So does preset go back? Okay, we're gonna do this again. We're going to confirm. Right here, it is 6. Okay, it's going to be 18 then. We'll do military time. You win. We'll just run with that. It's going to be close enough for demo purposes. Going down. What is set ISD? Oh, okay, so I guess that would be like your inspection date or whatever. We will... Okay, whatever. LCD contrast, don't really care. Information. So there's your calibration ISD. Again, that 10/4/2023, that's when they had this thing up and running. That's when they calibrated it. And then the ISD, we would change that, obviously. That was... It's kind of funny they don't, since they input that themselves, you'd think they would do that. Like, okay, let's put this guy out a year, and then if he needs 6 months, he can adjust it. Over info, what was that? Counter torque dates, okay. Head length, cycle counts, key beep. Oh, might change that. Yep. We're going up to key beep, and we're turning that off. Okay, factory settings were correct. Calibration required. I would rather go by cycles personally, especially something like this with home use, but you know, you do you. 5,000. Okay, what's wrong with that? Vibration. I thought it would do a simulation there for us. Sleep time right here. So again, 2 minutes, 8 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 5, 2. Okay, so 2 is the... I was going to drop it down to a minute. I thought it would have been better, but apparently you've got presets there. Going down again, language. We'll keep it on English, right? Exit. So there we go. Yeah, like I said, if we exit there, if we were to come in and just start going to town on this thing, it would start lighting up, doing some work. I don't really have a good way of showcasing that, sadly. That's where I will direct you to some of the other channels, maybe. But yeah, for 262, I think we did pretty good. Again, the angle mode is what I care about right here. If I hit units of measure, there's inch pounds, newton meters, kgm, angle mode. So this is a big deal. I think if we press it again, you've got T then A. What does that mean? That means torque then angle. This is probably something you're going to use quite a bit. Trying to tilt that where you can see it a little bit better. Come on. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, let me just hold it for you then. How about that? So the lights just went out, and they're back on because I hit something inadvertently. But that's foot-pounds. So again, inch-pounds, newton-meters, kgm, angle mode. That's a big one. And then right here, our torque then angle, which we didn't go to. Huh. Well, somehow we were just on torque then angle. Okay, I guess you've got to let it set and settle on angle mode. And so right here, if you had something that you needed to go to 60 foot-pounds and then X degrees, you can preset both. So you would set 60 foot-pounds and you get your angle, you get your additional turn. That is a feature on this that for the money, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. And again, I assume the testing people have done, you know, kind of vets that, so I feel pretty good about it. It's also a deal. Back in the day, you know, there was hand tools, you know, like hand torque wrenches, and it's a deal more and more often you're going to see this spec'd out. It's nice to just have it in this case. Could you get by without this? Yes. Is it nice to have it? Absolutely. But this is a thing where you would go in and you would be spending probably $800, $900 for a snap-on. It's kind of hard to actually find the angle functions on a lot of them. Typically you're going to need something digital. So this coming in at $262 gets your feet wet with it, and again, I think it's going to be a worthwhile investment for us. I think that walks you through pretty much everything I'd want to, and the battery light's flashing now anyway, so not on the torque wrench, on the camera, of course. So yeah, $262. I think we did okay. Time will tell with this. I'll get some seat time with it. Again, if you have anything cool like engine assembly, this will be really, really neat, and you'll kind of get to feel it out instantly. Otherwise, garden variety stuff for most of us, lug nuts, flat tire, new tires, new wheels, you know, race tires, whatever it might be. That's kind of a more applicable thing than just like, ooh, you know, flat tire type of thing. You've got your street tires, you got your track tires, you take this with you, you've got preset one, boom, home free. You come in, you pull your valve covers off to reset the lash, you know, after X rounds, boom, preset 2. Then you come in, you blow your motor, hey, it's terrible, you got to set some money aside, you got your backup motor, you're putting your heads on, boom, you got your torque to angle feature, you got your angle feature, really fancy stuff I've never had. And like I said, I'm kind of relying on the people that test this stuff and say it's actually good to be correct there. But at $262, it's a nice piece. I'm excited to use it, and like I said, if this sucks, I will be the first to tell you, because this wasn't handed to me, this wasn't sent out, obviously, in any way, shape, or form, and so if I feel like I got a piece of trash here, I'm going to tell you. If I feel like that $262 should have been put towards the snap-on, or I should have bought some, you know, $1,200 Hazette or Stavilla with digital, you know, readout type stuff, I'll tell you. If this thing turns out to be pretty dadgum good, I'll also let you know. But yeah, with that said, if you've got this, how long have you had it? How do you like it? How does it compare? Like, some of you have picked this up, maybe, you know, your snap-on had to be warranted. You had to have this. You picked it up as just a meantime or a temporary backup thing. Do you like it as well? Do you not like it as well? Does it have some stuff your other digital didn't have? This is where you shine in the comments section. Educate people, share your knowledge. Much appreciated. But with that said, it is getting cold in here. I had the door cracked. Super nice. It was like 60, 63 degrees today. So with that said, Cowboys and Lions are coming on. I better put dinner in the oven. Check that out. I also need to set my fantasy team's championship week. Wish me luck there. But yeah, again, I do hate the negative stuff, but it's got to be said. And it, truthfully, in instances like this, it just pisses me off. It's mismanagement. And it wasted my time multiple times over because of ineptitude. And when that's coming down from a management position, I lose respect for a place. And quite frankly, I don't believe I'll be frequenting that store anymore. So I'm a simple man, but I have standards. I might be cheap and thrifty, but I do have standards. So with that said, your thoughts and opinions on this thing, feel free to let us know. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. With that said, thanks for bearing with me on this one again. I can't knock myself too bad because I do have timestamps. If you skip the complaining at the start, here you are, right? If you're curious about, complaining at the start, I just went right to when the case was opened, you can go back. If not, I don't care. I hope you have yourself a fantastic week. If you like what I do here, leave a like. If you like several things, I encourage you just to subscribe. If you do that, ring the bell, jump your Charger across the creek. Pick this up from the UPS man who's actually delivering it because you ordered it online with 20% off and somehow you're shipped without getting canceled. YouTube just might notify you. Brand new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, I do look forward to using this. It is a pretty nice piece out of the box, initial impression wise, and I'm excited to put it to use. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I hope I catch you back here for more action from the show.